We are back with our pet segment. Usually we discuss topics that involve caring for your pet. Today we're focusing on something that is sparing a lot of people some heartache when it comes to their pets. Kim Kendrick from Regal Beagle joins us now along with Ziggy, an example of how this is working.
Yes, Ziggy is a dog, or excuse me, a cat from my neighborhood who found her way to our house, and she stayed at our house for 4 or 5 days while we went through this process of trying to find the owners and trying to reunite her with her family.
And you were able to do that.
And we were able to do that. She was a happy ending.
And how was that possible?
Well, the first thing you should do is always, Ziggy's collar unfortunately had fallen off. You could tell that she had had a collar on where her hair was mashed down, but unfortunately in her travels it had come off. But always make sure that you have a collar on your pet, even if it's an indoor pet like a cat, because they can flip out the door very, very easily. And one thing that was recommended to me by a vet, if you are willing to give a reward for the safe return of your pet, write the word reward on that collar tag, because it might encourage somebody who otherwise may want to just keep a really cute pet that they find. It might encourage them to give it back to the rightful owner. And also have them microchipped. If you get your pet, dog or cat, from a shelter or rescue situation, it most likely already is chipped. But if not, there are discount organizations and stuff that can help you do that. It's a very simple procedure, and then they can always be reunited with you if they're lost.
So those are things you can do to prevent anything from like losing your pet from happening. But if they have run away, what can you do then?
You need to act fast, because if animals are picked up by local animal control agencies, depending on where you are, generally you have 5 to 7 days where they keep the pet safely to wait for the owner to come collect them. If no owner is found within that time, at that point the animal is surrendered to a shelter or a rescue situation where it's put up for adoption for another family, just to try to get the animal a good, loving home.
We see signs up all the time. How effective are those?
Very effective. That's actually how Ziggy was reunited. One of the father's friends saw the sign and called him and said, "Dude, I think I found your cat." And lo and behold, it was. But call everywhere. Call your local animal control. Call vets in the area within a several-mile distance, because they can travel quite far. Call groomers. A lot of times people will call a groomer to see if it's one of their clients, or they'll turn it into a groomer. Call animal rescue places. There are lots of lost and found websites that are on
social media. I know you're very involved with that.
Facebook is huge. There's a lot of bad things to be said about social media, but in this case, it gets shared like wildfire, and people, a lot of dog and pet lovers everywhere, jump on board, and you have communities out trying to help you find your pet.
And before we run out of time, I want you to talk about the cookout. Because that's an interesting thing.
This was actually suggested to one of the people on Facebook who was looking for their dog, who had been spotted a lot in the neighborhood but wasn't able to find its way home, and they said, just cook out. Get your grill out in your driveway and cook everything in your freezer, and just keep cooking until the dog comes home.
Just
because
stay
they'll
outside.
get the smell. Just stay outside and cook, because when they're out there, they're hungry and they're looking for food, and they did it and it worked, and their dog just walked right up into their driveway, and their dog was home after about 7 days of looking.
Wow.
So
that's an interesting story. Well, Kim, thank you for being here. We're glad Ziggy's been reunited.
Thank you very, very much.
And we thank you for your tips.